worth of gold. And of course, now since it's no longer backed by anything, that's not the case. This is just merely legal tender. Okay, we just choose to accept it, and that's why it's really used. But again, speaking on the Fed, because that was allowed to happen, and just giving some background on the Fed, that came into existence way back in 1913. Was passed December 23rd. I'm sorry, 1913, when most of the Congress was away on Christmas vacation, thanks to their political frontman, Nelson Aldrich. And important to know that the act was actually written in Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia, not written by politicians or legislators, but written by bankers for bankers to allow them to assume political as well as actual control of the United States. And once that happened, they were to bankrupt the company or the country of the United States in short order by giving them, the act gave them a complete monopoly over the money supply. And looking at what's happened since the inception of the Federal Reserve, our currency is now only worth $1 right now. It's only worth about a nickel of what it was worth approximately 80 years ago. That's one of the reasons why, because of the Federal Reserve, you have out of control inflation, because they just print the money. And because they're printing money that has no value, of course it takes more of it to acquire the same amount of goods and services that people require, which is one of the reasons now that you have more and more people having to work multiple jobs. Now, what was at one time, you could just work with one income, now you need two, because the money is simply worth less and less. And the people who own the Fed, they don't have obviously the best interests of the United States and the people at heart. They're bankers. Their goal is to make money by any means necessary and to institute their own system of control. And they've done it through subterfuge, through buying off politicians. That's why this country is in the state that it's in. You can trace all of the problems that's going on right now. If you trace them all back, 95% of them, the Federal Reserve will be the cause of it. You look at most of the wars that we've been in, it's not because the cover story that we're being given, that we're going to spread democracy, which is a joke, because this country is not actually a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. But these bankers who own the Federal Reserve and other central banks, they also own defense companies, one, and the maximum profit zone for international bankers are war, because these countries have to borrow even more money during times of war than during times of peace. So it definitely, from a profit standpoint, behoove them to, if not facilitate the conditions of a war, then do what they can to make that happen. And if you look at any war, be it World War I, World War II, any of the Gulf Wars, you have international bankers at its core who have conducted these